Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chairman Barr and Ranking Member Shabbat for this hearing, and thanks to our witnesses. Let me start with Deputy Assistant Secretary Dawson. This is a question you've probably received quite a bit recently, but explain again for us why Taiwan was not included in the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. I recognize that the USTR and Commerce led that framing of the IPEF, and that the USTR has set up a parallel trade initiative with Taiwan, which is, of course, welcome. But why not include Taiwan directly in the IPEF?
Thank you very much for your question. As you mentioned, there are ongoing discussions with Taiwan now with the U.S.-Taiwan 21st Century Trade Initiative. That determination was made in light of the unique circumstances of Taiwan. It allows us greater ability to respond to those unique circumstances.
Can I just interrupt, sorry, and just be blunt? Is it that other nations in the IPEF objected, or did we preempt ourselves by not even trying to include Taiwan from the outset?
So what we have said is that the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework is open and inclusive, and the existing membership does not mean that additional members will not be added in the future.
Yeah, I just think it sends the wrong signal that Taiwan was excluded, even as we have this parallel trade initiative, which is welcome. I applaud it. Let's be open. Let's continue that open-mindedness, and let's see what we can do with our partners and allies to incorporate Taiwan in the framework. Follow-up for you, Ms. Dawson. There are currently significant delays in the delivery of U.S. weapon systems to Taiwan. What is the State Department doing to ensure timely delivery of these systems, many of which have already been bought and paid for?
I know that a number of mechanisms are currently under review. We are working to address those issues and are looking for...
It needs to happen yesterday. And I think in the Congress are growing impatient about the delivery. I know there's supply chain issues and all kinds of things, but that's a deterrence issue that we need to step up. I addressed this directly with Secretary Blinken and encourage everyone at State to be laser focused on that issue. Finally, if the CCP were to invade Taiwan tomorrow, speed would be imperative to defend Taiwan and our interests. What authorities would the administration want to advance from Congress so that the administration could respond immediately to such aggression?
I don't know offhand the specific authorities. I do know we are working as we speak with Taiwan to identify the specific asymmetric capabilities that are most needed and working to ensure those can be delivered.
Assistant Secretary Liu, let me move to you on Pacific Islands and follow up with Congressman Shabbat's good questions about the Solomon Islands. You know, this secret security deal that the CCP inked with the Solomon Islands is very troubling. Were we aware that these negotiations were underway, and why were we or Australia not able to offer a better deal that builds our relationship with the Solomon Islands?
I'm going to have to defer that again to my colleague, Ms. Dawson.
Okay.
To the question as to whether we were aware in advance, I am not aware that we had advance notice of that. We are working in very close concert with our partners and allies in the region. You mentioned specifically Australia. We are certainly working closely with them on engagement in the region.
Well, the lack of awareness is I think, a lack of commitment to the Pacific Islands. And let me move into what Mr. Sherman was speaking to, and that's the compacts, the negotiations of the compacts for freely associated states. Do we have any idea when those negotiations might be completed? Are we making progress?
I would say that yes, we are making progress. We have a number of upcoming negotiation dates set this month, beginning this month, with the freely associated states. And we are looking to advance those negotiations as quickly as we possibly can.
Thank you. Finally, Secretary Liu, since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, we've seen our partner India placed in a very precarious position with their longstanding sourcing of Russia. for military equipment and supplies. What is state doing through arms sales or other means to offer practical, legitimate alternatives to India's sourcing of defense equipment from Russia?
We had excellent discussions in April at what we call the 2+2 dialogue. Secretary Blinken, Secretary Austin with their counterparts here in Washington. We had detailed discussions about what's possible from our side in terms of what we can offer, but also to help them think about the transition. They have lots of legacy systems that are going to continue to need spare parts and munitions. We're talking to them about whether Europe can help other countries around the world.
Thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Let me now recognize the gentlelady from Virginia, Ms. Spanberger, for 5 minutes questioning.